Hey guys, welcome to the Geeksphere GTA V review. Now I'm a massive Grand Theft Auto fan. I don't know about you guys, but I've lived and breathed these games for, I dare say, lots of my hours of my life. Now today we're looking at the fifth iteration. It's actually not the fifth iteration. Anyone who knows the series, is actually a whole bunch of them. But it's called GTA V nonetheless. Now, being a Grand Theft Auto series, you know, we have to talk about cars, we have to talk about theft, we have to talk about crime, there's brutality. Now, this being a Grand Theft Auto game, every time one comes out, it's massive in the news. There's lots of bad press, bad PR about games, because it is a violent game. There's criminal things you do. You can be very violent. You can generally do everything you probably shouldn't do in real life. So it's always massive in the news. There's lots of things blamed on games and violence in games, and you'd have to say this is the one series of games that always brings out the worst in media when it comes to games. So let's crack into it, guys. Let's talk about the storyline. There are three main characters to the game, the first-person game. There's Trevor, Michael, and Franklin, and you kick off the storyline as Franklin. You're in the hood. You know, you're a black guy, and the gangster guys. They're all trying to be gangsters. There's lots of criminal elements. You name it. Franklin's no different. He's kind of caught up in this. He's trying to get out of it, and he ends up running into Michael. Now, Michael is essentially an old friend of Trevor's. They used to do criminal things together, and they've separated ways. In fact, Trevor thinks he's dead, so he doesn't know better. Now, Michael's living the high life as a witness protection dude. He's in a mansion in Los Santos, and that's where Franklin and Michael meet. Now, Trevor finds out that Michael's still alive. I won't spoil the storyline for you, but essentially the three get thrown together and they end up doing all sorts of nefarious stuff. Needless to say, it's a classic Grand Theft Auto storyline. Now, this is a Grand Theft Auto series, so we have to talk about cars, to talk about the models, we have to talk about the physics, what can you do with them, and this game doesn't disappoint. Look, the car models are just... I'm amazed that with the game they've just gotten the graphics and the sound and the physics and everything in this game out of the existing consoles, PS3 and Xbox 360. So I'm amazed that they've got the graphics and the detail, the cars as good as they are. The cars are top notch. Now you can really mod them out, and you take them to modding or tuners if you like. You can get everything from tyres, the colour of smoke in your tyres. You soup up the engines. You can get different looking grills. You can do xenon lights, all sorts of stuff. And look, they're not just for looks. They actually make the cars handle and go better, sound better with bigger exhausts, etc. It's a car lover's delight. Now, let's not forget about character customization. If you guys have played the other series, it was previous series before this, you know GTA IV was probably the first new generation or current generation console port of Grand Theft Auto, so everything was in HD. But we seem to have lost a lot of detail and a lot of character customization, that type of thing. So thankfully, not since San Andreas have we seen this level of character customization. You can take your guy in to get a haircut, much like we're doing with Trevor here. He's lacking hair, much like myself, so we shave his head. And I think we'll take him to go and get a suit, make him look a bit smick. You can do this for all the characters. There's lots of different hairstyles, lots of different clothes, you name it. You can make your guy look as hipster or space punk or whatever, steampunk, sorry. Anything you like, you can make him look like it. Now, one of the key features to this game is the fact that you can switch between characters. Now, you can do this at any time in the game, of course, unless of course you're in a mission where you're not allowed to do that. But essentially, this gives you three characters or three games to play in this massive world, and we haven't even touched on the world yet. So you can switch between characters, and it feels like they're actually living and breathing while you're doing other stuff, which is the best part about it, because you can switch to your other characters and find them doing all sorts of crazy things, especially if you switch to Trevor. He's generally doing something really terrible. It's great, makes for great fun, and in the heists and missions you quite often switch between them to give you that real sense of teamwork and that you're actually controlling 3 different guys. Now let's talk about the world. This is probably the best, the singular best part of the game. Is the world is just massive. I can't explain to you how big it is. I've put some video up. Essentially I flew a blimp up, and you fly around in the blimp, and I'm trying to sort of have a look around. You'll note I started the review like that to give you a bit of a view of how big this city is. It's just massive. Essentially, it can take you upwards of an hour to drive around the thing in a car. So you can imagine if you were cycling or what have you. It is big, and it's not just big, it is so detailed. There's just crazy amounts of detail. There's jerry cans of petrol you can pick up, you can pour it, you can light it with all sorts of things. You can shoot out fuel tanks out of the cars, you can shoot the tyres. It's just millions amount of detail. I can't express how much detail there is, but let me just tell you that if you're looking for a sandbox game where you can do pretty much anything that you think you could do in real life, this is the game for you. And this is particularly what I love about the game. So let's talk about some of the side things you can do. There's tennis, and I'm talking tennis at the level of, it's almost like playing topspin. Like if you guys have played the topspin game, same controls. You can do topspin shots, lobs, and chips. You name it. Golf is exactly the same. So you can play a whole round of golf. You can buy the golf course if you've got 120 mil spare. I'm talking about money, there's a whole stock market which is living and breathing based on some of the in-game events. There's also a stock market based on the multiplayer or GTA Online version of that, based on what people are doing in there. So it's quite amazing. There's also the classic GTA side things where things like arm wrestling. What else is there? There's darts. You can buy marijuana shops. It's just endless. I cannot tell you how big it is. If you do nothing else, you must play this game. So let's talk about GTA Online. This is essentially Rockstar's first attempt at, you could argue, an MMO. They have the same massive world, detailed world, with 16 players at the same time, and I'm sure it'll probably grow once they iron out some of their issues they've been having. Now initially they kicked off, I think it was a week or so ago. Essentially they've had all sorts of issues. Not surprising, they've sold $1 billion worth of this game in the first 3 days. So it's not surprising there's probably upwards of 10 million people trying to get on their servers at once. Not surprising they've had a few issues. Seem to have ironed it out. They've sent out a massive patch yesterday. Things are going great. My friends and I have created a crew. You can create your own crew, which is just your gang essentially. You can have your own custom emblems. You can put emblems on your cars, on your shirts. You can customize your shirts. They've pretty much thought of everything. I've put some of the gameplay up. The racing's really good. You can customize your characters. You customize your cars. Essentially, the whole premise is get experience points, which unlock things, and get money to buy those things you unlock. So you can buy apartments and buy garages. You can do all sorts of things. And as you get more experience, you unlock more and more missions. Well, that's me, guys. I can't tell you again how big this game is, how wonderful this game is. Everyone on the net who's reviewed this game's given it a 10. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 as well. If you do nothing else, you've got to go play this game. It's very addictive. And speaking of that, I'm off to go play some more. Thanks, guys. See you next time.